So let's start with Andy Brown's first topic. Let's start with Ocho Cinco. I know Ocho Cinco, Chad Johnson, brother grew up in Miami. I consider him one of us. He's part of the family, as well as I consider Shay Shay as part of the family. But Chad did grow up in Miami. His scenario was very similar to mine. He was raised by a grandmother. I was raised by a grandmother. So he accomplished some really big things in life. He was able to go and play professional football and go to the highest level in the sport. He didn't just get there. He went above and beyond the level that was expected of him to get to the NFL and to make waves in the NFL. And along the way, he built a fantastic foundation for his brand. And he started building his brand was when he was with the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, when he started playing and, you know, it was Carson Palmer throwing the ball to him and TJ Hushmanzada. And by the way, shouts out to TJ. TJ, he's got his own podcast as well. TJ, we love to have you over here. So let us know if you can join us over here just to talk about your career. Because I know you and Chad played college football at Oregon State. And they were able to get you brothers, bring you to Cincinnati. Marvin Lewis parlayed that into something that was special because you guys did have a dynamic offense back then. But the latest rumors that are swirling now that Andy Brown has from a topic for us about Ocho Cinco is that there is social media conversation that Chad Johnson, which we call Ocho Cinco, will be offered or possibly offered a position on First Take, which is on ESPN. First Take is actually Stephen A. Smith's show, and Stephen A. Smith is special as well. I would say that he is a dynamic individual when it comes to sports. He's got the personality for it. He's got the gift of gab for it, as we call it when I was growing up. So, Isaiah, since there is rumor swirling about Ocho Cinco possibly joining Stephen A. in the slot that Shannon Sharpe left behind, which was Shay Shay. They fired Shannon Sharpe. Technically, they fired him because they're not going to allow him to come back. So if you want to term it any way you want, that he was released or whatever you want to call it, that's fine too. But at the end of the day, Isaiah, I need your take on whether, if this is indeed fact true, do you think Ocho should accept a position like this to start?
I just really believe that's just clear speculation, man. I hope that's not true. Because
I would hope it's speculation myself.
Everybody know they're partners, first of all. They're partner on their show. They got this Nightcap show that they're partners on. So you fire one dude off of the show and then hire his right-hand man. That's some sleazy stuff, man. I don't give a crap if they throw him the $50 million or the $100 million. But the can Shay Shay and hire Ocho on the show, man, that's some dingy stuff, man. If that's what's going down, it's hard to turn down a bag. But that's, man, I don't see how you could do it. Man, that's the way. If it was in me, I would have to walk away from that millions of dollars because I would feel pimped, man. I would feel used because what is clearly indicating that they don't like Shay Shay and they're going to hire his boy behind his back where they know he ain't just his friend, they're partners on their show. So you will hire him? And so you leave Shay Shay just like a roach. You just hit him with some rain and you flip him on his back and he's screaming for his, trying to gasp for breath. That's how that looks. You take a man right-hand dude and bring him on a show that you fired him from, man, you don't get no sleazier than that. I just hope that ain't true, man, because that's the ultimate disrespect, slap in the face and everything to Shay Shay. Because according to Shay Shay, and I watched that interview, when they decide to terminate his contract, he knew it Monday. He knew his brother's situation being, getting ready to be glorified and get inducted to the Football Hall of Fame. was coming that same week. And he begged them to just follow up on a Monday, which would have been released today, which is Monday. It would have been released today that his firing. No, they did it before that so they could step on him and they could twist it like you do a cockroach and make him look like a child, make him look like an imbecile, make him look so marginalized. That's what they did. Tried to embarrass the man and then try to glorify his brother. Man, these people do some heinous, wicked stuff, man. And that's what that is. I mean, if this all true, DC, it'll be super difficult. And they put Ocho Cinco in a tough spot because it's going to be enormous amount of money they're going to offer him to go over there. And they could pay it. But it also proves that they trying to make sure that Shay Shay go down, man. They trying to take him down. They taking him down. You just took his job and now you trying to bring down his own show by taking his right-hand dude from him? Man, I hope that ain't true, DC. I just hope this is just chit-chat in the blogs, man, because I don't know how you get more heinous and wicked to do somebody like that, man. Of course, the guy feel bad. He had to pay out that 23 mil to a jump off. Okay, he did that. But then trying to make sure the guy businesses fail too, and now they got some other folks allegedly coming out on him. They just trying to make this guy have a tough run. This last part of his year gonna be terrible for him. You know, the only thing he can celebrate is his brother being inducted to the Hall of Fame, which was a beautiful speech for Sterling, man. I haven't heard anything as eloquent, you know, when it comes to family and values and the way he started out and living in the poverty-stricken woods in Georgia and going to the outside, which is probably almost a street block or somewhere in the neighborhood of a street block long. That's, you know, and for them to come out of that situation and bring your family out of a situation when you become celebrities and rich and living a decent life and now you see all of this stuff. But it goes to show you too, when you're successful, you don't fall away from all the things that can happen to you bad. You know, it brings on more things that can happen. People start seeing that you got a lot of money and they try to attach themselves to you, whether it's male or female. That happens in both aspects of it, man, of being rich. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you summed it up in a nutshell, but my main concern is there is rumor swirling and there has been chatter on some of the blogs regarding the potential of Ocho joining First Take. And the reason for that is I think they want to keep First Take's audience, at least what Shannon brought to the table. I mean, they want to keep Shannon's audience coming to First Take. And by doing that, they can have Ocho on that show. But my message to Ocho is if they offer you a gazillion dollars, turn it down. It's not worth it. I don't think it's worth being on First Take in the place of your road dog that you do a show with pretty much on a nightly basis, which you guys are streaming live. You guys are doing recordings. You guys built that foundation of Nightcap together. You started it out and you started out just having fun. You didn't probably even start it out to have some of the successes that you're enjoying today. So to me, it's more of a principle of a moral thing than it is for a monetary thing. Because Ocho, you'll continue to earn your bag over at Nightcap with Shannon. You guys are not going to lose much audience over there. I don't predict you're going to lose very much at all with Nightcap and Club Shay Shay with Shay Shay. I don't think he's going to lose much. And then you guys got Joe Johnson on the show with you. You've got week after week after week of interesting guests coming on to you guys' show. And you guys have taken it into the stratosphere. Why would you want to even question or have questions asked about you taking a job over at First Take. Let Stephen A. go and get someone else. He could get somebody else. I mean, why would I don't even know why there would even be a consideration other than the fact that they want to keep Shannon's audience, which I find kind of offensive, because if that audience is happy over at First Take, they don't need Shannon over there. They'll stay over at First Take. You know, as far as I'm concerned, if it's enough interest coming out of First Take. Shannon was a very charismatic person, so I could see that side of it. But as far as Ocho going over there, and let's just say they offer, like you say, they offer him something close to 100 million or whatever they offer him, I don't think it's worth him going over there and doing that on a permanent basis. Now, one thing I will bring to light and bring better context to is Ocho has been a guest on First Take in the past, so this is not anything new to him. You know, he's been a guest on First Take in the past, and he would come every now and then and he would talk about sports and things. He has that charisma as well. He could hold an audience. He could bring a dynamic to the show that they probably wouldn't have. However, I still think from my perspective that Ocho need to think this thing over if indeed and it's true. And not only that, it looks like it's coming from a very reliable source who knows inside information as to what's going on with the whole scenario. Now, another question to you, Isaah, is do you think if he does accept a permanent role at First Take, would that damage his relationship with Shay Shay? Would Shay Shay feel kind of like he's been slighted by it, or would he just say, look, they giving that man an opportunity and he's just taking an opportunity that was given to him? Would you say that?
Yeah, listen to me. I've seen Shay Shay cry a lot. I've seen him cry multiple times. You know, he's not like his brother Sterling. Sterling, I have never seen shed a tear under no circumstance. But Shannon, Shay Shay will bust out in tears on you, man. He did it the other night when his brother was inducted. He did it when his brother came over to his house to let him know he was going to be inducted. All of this stuff, man. He was crying like he was at a funeral. But that goes to show you this guy got emotions, man. If you mean to tell me that you fired me for something that I love and adore, and you hire my right hand man who I brought in on a show of my own, and now you're going to hire him, dude, you got to feel some kind of way about that. Now, just judging on what you're saying about having an opportunity, DC, if they know how to harness their emotions, and I'm gonna show you the tricky part about this. I don't know whether they'll do it. I don't know if they got enough guts to do it. I don't know if they can swallow their pride to do it. If I was Ocho Cinco, you know what I'll do? I would demand that same $100 million that you was gonna give to Shay Shay. And if they stupid enough to do that, I'll damn take the job. Know why? Because I'll give Shay Shay half the damn money. Because he ain't getting ready to make no $100 million on that podcast that they're doing. There's no way in the world. He could work 40, 50 years and he's not getting ready to make no $100 million on that show. I'm going to tell you that right now. But that's only if they know how to strategize, swallow their pride, and just look at numbers and be able to pull something off like this. If they swallow their pride, because this is what they're doing. Because think about what they're doing, DC. You want to take my right hand man because you want to keep my damn numbers. Just think about that.
Well, you want my audience. I mean, you want to keep my audience, right?
That's what I'm saying to you. You want to keep my audience, but you want to fire me. If that's the case, you should have just left the guy in place. Just leave him in place. Oh yeah, he was embarrassing to the organization, but then you want the audience that he brought, but you want to get rid of me and bring in my right hand man. Man, somebody, you just think about whoever came up with that clever idea to be that despicable, to do that, to play these two brothers against themselves. I hope they get the damn last laugh off of this just because of that.
Really?
Yeah. Because you breaking up something that these guys created together just because something happened to him that has nothing to do with I mean, it's always when you're working for somebody, you always on the spotlight of something. If you damage the brand, can you? They can. Legally they can.
True.
But why you still want that man audience then, if that's the case? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, to be honest with you, DC, I've already done just wiped this off the table. With the money that he paid her, I just looked at Shay Shay as Shay Shay. It ain't had nothing to do with the money. I still look at this guy the same way because I just knew that he just got played and he didn't know how to handle that situation because he was on the phone
Right.
going yap back and forth with a girl and she was recording him. I just want to twist his ear, because he's stupid. But anyway, all that other part with that money issue and the way they stabbed him in the back, cruel, man. That is cruel. There's no other way to
Well,
look.
I'll just say this in proper context as well, in clarification. That $100 million, I don't think was coming from ESPN to Shay Shay. I think that $100 million was from an independent platform, if I'm not mistaken. The $100 million, potential $100 million that he was going to negotiate, I believe, was with the independent sports media platform. And I'll verify that and clarify that at some point. I'm going to look it up
So that
shortly.
was off the
But
table. So it
either
was off the
way,
table.
if ESPN offered him an astronomical amount of money, I agree that what you just said, as far as from an opportunity standpoint, that if he takes that money or if he takes the position or accepts the position, there should be a potential that Shay Shay should be considered as, someone who he could possibly divvy the money down with. Now, a lot of people will say that sounds crazy because here's a guy that, he created his own brand as well, just like Shay Shay did. And he's just going to take advantage of an opportunity given to him. However, him and Shay Shay built Nightcap together, and they built all of these other smaller platforms that they've done together to come to the point they are now. As far as I'm concerned, Ocho should turn it down either way. That's just my opinion of it. Let's just flip that into you and I, and let's just say was enjoying the same success level as Shay Shay, and I'm your sidekick in terms of me and you being Batman and Robin, and something happens where you can't be on that show anymore, and then they offer it to me because they want our audience. I don't think I would take that position. I would highly consider, and I would sit down and talk with you about it. However, I would just not take it due to the fact of the principle of the whole thing. And the principle stinks. I mean, the principle in a lot of ways, let me rephrase that. In terms of principle, I wouldn't take it because the whole concept of what they're trying to do stinks as far as I'm concerned. And I have some type of inkling that Stephen A. Smith is behind it. I think he is the one that's behind it. Hey, let's bring Ocho on. He'll be able to, maintain what Shay Shay left behind. I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I really don't. Do you?
It's just terrible, man. All the way around the board, man. It's just terrible, man. I mean, I'm just telling you, you put a man in an awkward position, DC, man. When you think about just waving that type of money in front of a guy who's retired, who, never even got that type of money during his career at playing football, at his height, at his most productive years, he never got that type of, nowhere near that kind of money. And you're going to offer a man that kind of money, that goes to show you they'll do anything to put you in your place, to put you so-called in your place, man, to do something so nasty. And, you stabbing a guy in the back like that, man, and you're mad at him because he got in a little trouble. Yeah, okay. You fired him. That's good. Okay, you did your thing. But then you turn around and get the guy who's on the show with him that he brought in. That's some
Right.
doggy dog. That's
Isn't that the
man.
truth? Isn't that the
Oh
truth?
man. God Almighty. That's man.
Well,
I
that's
just
how life works in a lot of ways. I mean, because it all boils down to ratings, and the ratings in turn boils down to advertising, and the advertising drives the revenue and the money, and how much money a TV station gets, or how much money a sports platform earns off of it, and then they pay people based and according to that. I just think that, the thing that we created together would be special
yeah.
unless we both agreed, you and I agreed that, look, if I accept it, we'll split the money in half. I mean, that would be the only way I would think
Yeah, but
in
DC,
terms of
you
considering
remember
it.
something. I actually like Ocho, man. I like Ocho a lot, man. Ocho really
I do
brings
too.
something to the table. But if he meant that much, how come they didn't offer him anything like that before this all came down? They
True.
could have did that
True.
before.
That's a good
They
point.
they could have did that before. Now you wait till Shay Shay is in such a vulnerable position, in an awkward position, in a position where he's down on his luck, so to speak. Then you're gonna take his right hand man and put him in the slot that he was in. Man, oh freaking block those guys. You won't be able to email me, call me, or nothing else, man, with that. It's just
Right.
it's just hard to put into words how nasty and heinous people can be when they want to just make you feel bad and marginalize you because of something that happened. That I mean, it was self-inflicted, no doubt about it. But you fired the guy. That's what you did. I mean, you punished him for it. You took his job away from him. Now you want to hire his boy? Oh man.
Well, I look at it like this: these executives over at these television networks and these high level sports platforms, I don't even think they look at it from a malicious stand. They looking at it from a more monetary standpoint. They're looking at it from a profiteer standpoint. They don't care about who thinks what. It's just a matter of, can they continue that stream of revenue or increase that stream of revenue? That's what I think it boils down to, because it's all viewership. I
Yeah.
mean, when you have a television show, everything comes with viewership. If you don't have the viewers, you're going to get canceled, just like everything else.
Bro,
So I think it's more driven from a greed standpoint than it is from a standpoint of the relationship that those two guys have.
you're
That's
wrong.
what I think they're doing.
DC, let me tell you something. You're wrong, okay? If you don't
Okay.
think this came from a malicious standpoint, you're wrong. And let me
So
tell you
who's
why.
malicious behind it, though? Who's malicious?
It doesn't matter. That ain't what we're saying. We're saying you just said a viewer in the dollar standpoint, okay? Do
Right.
you think for not 1 second they didn't think this was going to be malicious? Because it is. It's just there's no way other way to put it. If it was just hiring somebody else, okay, it wasn't malicious. If you could have got anybody to fill that slot who's popular. There's plenty of people that's popular out there. You can give them that slot. But to go get his right hand man and put him there, you gotta be nuts to think that wasn't malicious, man. Just think about how many talented reporters and sports people out there, such as you and I. Why didn't he call you?
But my question to you is, if it's malicious, I agree. But it has to be a source who's driving the maliciousness. Who's driving the maliciousness if you think it's malicious? It has to be a corporation, it has to be an individual or a group of individuals. Who do you think is driving the maliciousness of wanting to put his right hand man on that show?
Okay,
As far as I'm concerned, I would think Stephen A. Smith is behind it.
Yeah, it could be. And that's what I was getting ready to allude to.
Yeah.
It could have started out with one person. It always is. It's that one person who came up with
It's
this.
just an idea. Let's see if Ocho will be interested in coming on, right? That's kind of the way they might have thrown it out there.
No, hell no. It wasn't like that. Damn it, you're thinking backwards. It came up with that malicious intent first to get him back. And then he said something to somebody else. and somebody else say, hey, come on, man, we can go in the corporate office and speak to the rest of the guys about this. And then that's when it all unfolds. Because you think about something, DC, this thing happened right after he paid that girl. Right after he paid that girl, that's when everything started to wind and get tight as a snowball and start gaining traction. That's what happened. And then ultimately, they gave him that knock on the door. Hey, listen, dog, you're out. Hey, man, can you wait till Monday when my brother having this thing? Nah, man, we gonna do this thing now. They just put it out there. And you think for a split second, if it wasn't malicious, DC, they would have waited like he asked them. He said he begged them not to do this until his brother's ceremony was over, man. And they did it anyway. That's disrespectful. That's malicious, man. How else can I spell it out to you if you don't think that was the intentions to marginalize him in that fashion?
I agree with that. I agree with that. I'm just trying to get to the source of who threw out the idea to do it. That's all I'm trying to figure out.
They never come up with that one because just like anything else, it comes up with one idea. You go tell that person, they say, oh, wow, that's a good idea. I mean, it's good and bad when people come up with stuff like that. It's just like when you freaking come up with a new app to put on your damn phone. It came up with somebody's idea. He told this person he got some investors and they got it pulled off. This is the same thing. Same thing. Same thing. So you're not.
That could be that's potentially it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we'll keep an eye out on this, but like I said before, I believe that Shannon and Ocho is going to be fine and they're going to continue to thrive unless they decide they just don't want to do it anymore. I think they will continue to thrive with their current show in the current format that it's in, will be fine. And they have Joe Johnson as that third person just in case Shannon is not there or just in case Ocho is not there. Joe Johnson fills in perfectly for that show.
You've reached the end of another episode of the DC Stewart Sports Talk Podcast. Be sure to connect with us at Facebook and Twitter.com. Your voice is important, so head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. Catch our next episode.